This podcast is brought to you by Nut Money Coalition's Farm Talk podcast. They have been serving the Hopi community since 2004 by working to reaffirm and preserve traditional Hopi farming. Go to nutmoneycoalition.org to learn more. That's NATWANI coalition.org.
Terraform Development is a Navajo and Hopi-owned engineering, architectural, and project management firm located in northern Arizona. The company has full-time staff and comprises of Navajo and Hopi employees. Terraform services include civil engineering, residential design, drone mapping, and project management on projects for your need. Terraform is a Priority 1 Navajo certified business and Hopi business license certified. Contact Terraform Development at TERRA4ORM.com and follow them on Instagram at Terraform Development.
Good morning and happy Wednesday to you. Yes, it is a bright, brand new day here on the reservation we call home on the Hopi Reservation. It is a cool 58 degrees, and I don't know if it is true or not because I have not been outside yet. I'm here at home. I just barely got up, and it is, let's check the time, 6:30 in the morning. And yes, I am doing this live here in my home studio. I had to get up extra early because I had to go use the restroom, and I couldn't go back to sleep. So that was the reason why. But anyway, last week's episode was a cliffhanger. It was like a bad soap opera, like, you know, there's one of those bad soap operas that you see on daytime television, and you're like, oh man, it's so bad. I can't wait till the next one. But anyway, yeah, I mean, like J-Man was a stain on my Jinko jeans, and I had to scrub it out as much as I can. I had Soul go wash my Jinko jeans, you know, so I got rid of J-Man, the stain. And so I'm here at my home studio doing this podcast here. And it is weird. It is weird talking to a wall. It's weird doing a self episode. And it's because we wanted to try to see how well we can do these self episodes by ourselves. To see how well we can do without each other. And so far, I think I'm failing just because I don't have feedback. I mean, I have this. I mean, I have that. Let's see, what else do I have on here? I mean, I have this. I mean, I can make a joke like, you know, J-Man doesn't have a big feel. Or maybe like J-Man's hair is always messed up. Or like, well, let's see, J-Man doesn't get up in the morning. So, I mean, I have that going for me. I don't know what else. But basically, yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. I do have a thought. That I wanted to talk about because I like sci-fi stuff. I like all the good sci-fi movies like Back to the Future. You know, I like Terminator, and you know, I like all those sci-fi movies that intrigue me because they are real world things that are happening in a different time. And I find that so fascinating. I find that because when you kind of relate to movies in that way, it just kind of brings back like sort of little memories that you've had in the past. Like, you know, oh, like I've watched this movie with maybe my brothers or my sisters before. And those movies kind of remind you of those different times. And yes, like on our regular podcast, the Carl and J-Man show, I do talk about like the past a lot, not because I want to go back to the past. It's because the past kind of reminds you of like happier times. Not saying that the podcast that we do is happy, but I'm saying that there are a lot of things in people's present time that doesn't seem like where they want it to go to. And yeah, a lot of the times that when you think about it, you know, the lives that we live now is not the life that we wanted to live back in the past. And when I say that is because like the whole idea of living or trying to live somewhere, or trying to of trying to live like how you wanted to live like is something different, and is something that that I've always wanted to do. Like when I was a kid, yeah, I talked about like becoming a ninja, and that's just one thing that I wanted to do. It's like, yeah, I've always wanted to become a ninja, and I've always wanted to become like this, because they're so mysterious. They're so like their whole way of life is just like Master Splinter, like, oh my God, I gotta pray to you and stuff like that. And the other thing too is that I've always wanted to become a mechanic. I know, right? It's like really odd thing that I wanted to do is like always wanted to become like a car mechanic. And it is because like I used to watch Speed Racer back in the day, back in 1980s, that you find there was a show called Speed Racer, and there was a it was pretty cool because they had this futuristic car. And in there was this boy, Speed Racer, basically drove this futuristic car, and I was like, oh my God, this is such a good show, because it was a Japanese show for one thing, and it was dubbed in American language, and it showed that the whole premises of the show was that this Speed Racer wanted to please everybody. And my understanding was that I needed to do that. I wanted to please everybody. And so, like, the whole idea behind becoming like either a ninja or becoming like a mechanic was so that I could help people. And that's what I really wanted to do. I think that was the underlining of what I wanted to do in my future. I never thought that I would have like a podcast. I never thought that I would have something like this. I never thought that, cameras, or like never thought that I would become a photographer or work as a photographer. I never thought about that. And we think about these different times in the past. And when we think about those, we think about like the future of what we wanted to do. I remember back in one of our classes back in third grade, Sister Mary Gleitz was our third grade teacher. And she was a nun that worked as a teacher, and she was a nun at the local church in Tuba City. I don't know if you guys still remember her. If some of my classmates can remember Sister Mary Gleitz. And I remember in her class, we were making these sculptures in class that like how a human form should look like, and there I think there was a one where you could dress up your character, your wire character, as anybody as you wanted to be. And I remember that I wanted to be like a person that helps people. And I didn't think about like police officer, or like a doctor, or anything that's like a major person that does a lot of these things like that. And I never thought about that. And when you're a mushhead kid, you don't think about those times like that. I mean, you don't think about like the future of what you could do. And for me, I thought that, just being a helpful person was a person that could get paid to just help somebody. I never thought about money. It's just like, I just wanted to do that. And when you think about those times like that, and when you think about like how you wanted to grow up, and when you finally do, and you're like, man, I was a total idiot back then. It's like, I was jumping around, attacking Sooh, thinking that I was the shadow of the night, because I really wanted to become a ninja. The other thing that I wanted to do too, and what really intrigued me, was I wanted to become a vampire. I wanted to become a vampire. And the reason why is because I thought that vampires are cool, and I thought that I could turn into a bat anytime and just fly around and scare everybody. I thought that was so cool too. I had a weird imagination, and I think I was like borderline homeschooled kind of person. It's like, oh my God, this boy needs to be homeschooled, or put into a special class. I think I was that borderline there. But anyway, I basically didn't grow up to be anything like that. I didn't have, I didn't go to any dojo. I didn't study the art of, samurai. I didn't study the art of anything like that. I basically just went through, grade school. And when I promoted to ninth grade, to high school, I liked heavy metal. I like the raw heavy metal, like, Slayer and Pantera and, Ozzy Osbourne. And it kind of changed me in a way. Music kind of changed me, changed my personality, changed the outlook of life that I've had as a child. And I went through high school like that. So people that do know me in high school, yes, I did wear black every day, mostly every day. And I did have these Harley Davidson boots that I would wear every day. And I used to look heavy metal, and what you call heavy metal is called goth these days. And I used to, I never used to wear makeup that resembled that, but I did have a lot of friends that did listen to all of these different genres of heavy metal music, and it got me into a lot of these different things like that. And I had friends that did listen to that, and I had my Hopi guy friends and then my Navajo guy friends that would basically have that mentality of changing. And yeah, we do go through that change. We go through that change in life. And that's basically how life is. Life is about change. We can't just stick to something all our lives. We have to have the salad with our steak sometimes. We have to have that. Otherwise, we'll just be eating, a $90 steak. That's just a steak. I'm pretty sure that it's pretty good, but without the fixings on the side, you're just having a slab of meat, that you probably might have just bought at Safeway. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that we have to have variety in our lives. And yeah, I mean, like the whole idea was growing up is to explore a lot of these different ideas. And when I did finally grow up, when I finally graduated high school and finally went off to college, I never thought that I would go to college. I never thought that going away off the reservation was a thing. Growing up on the reservation, it never occurred to me that I could get off the reservation and make something of myself. And I finally did. That. So I signed up. These recruiters from Al Collins College came by the high school, and I signed up, and I got scammed out of $40,000. I got a free toaster out of it. I got my name written on a wall that's probably collapsed now. And but anyway, I graduated. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in visual communications and graphic design, and I have no idea what to do with it. And just like with everybody else out there, that I have no idea what to do with a piece of paper that has my name on there, because I work as a graphic designer. I still do a lot of graphic designing, but I am not making a career out of it. It's more like just a side job, I guess you could say. And yeah, I mean, like, it's weird. I went to school for about 4 years just to earn something that I probably could have learned on YouTube nowadays. I mean, that's pretty much what you do now, is that you don't need any secondary school to go to. But I guess it's just the experience in college. I remember in college, one time when I was still living with my roommates, the black guy, the Christian guy, the Navajo guy, and the Christian guy was the only guy that had a car there. And it was late at night. I remember it was late at night, and So and Kwa had dropped me off at the Greyhound bus station in Flagstaff. And I was supposed to catch the train going back to Phoenix, and not the train, but the bus going back to Phoenix. And it was a delay there. It was like a 2-3 hour delay. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to get there late. And I had texted my friend saying that I'm going to be late coming back home in Phoenix. And so what he did was that he said that I'll wait up for you, being a good Christian guy, of course. He waited up. It was around 2-3 o'clock in the morning till I got there at Phoenix, and it was the central station there. It was the best central station that the Greyhound bus guy just dropped us all off there. And there was like 4 or 5 guys on the bus, and it was part of the scary night. It was the scary night. There was things were closed, nothing was open, and I felt very, very scared. And I remember this because it stayed with me all these years. I remember that this one car pulled up. He had no lights on, and he had no license plate. The emblems on the car were all ripped off, and so it was a nice car too. It looked like a rental. And so he pulls up, and he asked me if I needed a ride somewhere, and he didn't show his face. He had gloves on, like these medical gloves on, and the front seat was all covered in plastic, like the plastic stuff, and it was all wrapped in duct tape. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get murdered here in Phoenix. And I'm like, this is scary. And it's like, and I said, no, I have my friend my roommate's going to pick me up here in a few minutes. And, but thanks anyway. Thank you anyway. And he drove off, and it was one of the more scarier things that happened. And I was like, that stayed with me. And I'm like, man, I probably would have been murdered by some random guy if I had taken that ride with him. But I was smart. I was very smart back then. Yes. And I'm still smart now. But anyway, talking on the whole idea of future and where we're going in the future kind of puts you in a sort of like this bind here, this kind of like, where do I see myself in 5 years? Like, those are kind of the questions that you get asked when you're being interviewed for a job. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, in 10 years, or like in 20 years? And you're like, don't say doing your wife. That whole, what was that? The Family Guy thing is like, no, don't say doing your wife. And I remember that whole thing. But anyway, like, but where do I see myself in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? Like, I just barely got used to 2020. This year in 2021, I still keep putting like the year 2020 on my thing, and I have to scratch it out and try to make a 1 on the 0 there. And it's very, very frustrating because I just barely got used to the year. I mean, like, the year should kind of slow down for us for a bit. And I kind of feel that we're just rushing rushing these years, and I'm like, where are we rushing to? So again, where do I see myself in 5 years? Do I still see myself doing this podcast? I mean, maybe. I mean, if this podcast starts to become a real entity of or a real business that we can hire people to actually do stuff for us, and we just, come in and we just do the podcast. I mean, I think that's like one of my goals is to do that kind of thing like that. So maybe in 5 years, this would become like a huge success, and I don't have to work anymore unless I win the lottery. But one or the other. I don't know. I still play the lottery. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break because I think sooh is calling my name. I don't know if you can hear that, but yeah, sooh is calling my name. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break for our paid sponsors. Nurturing Indigenous Intelligence is a grassroots organization based on the Hopi Reservation. They work to alleviate the hardships in the community through acts of giving, from distributing school supplies, volunteering at various places, and working to expand their services. Follow them on Instagram at Nurturing I Squared and on Facebook at NI Squared Team to find out more.
BoBoYama Law, PLLC is 100% native owned and operated, founded by Vern BoBoYama. Their practice areas include corporate law, business transactions, finance, economic development, gaming, casino development, online gaming, real estate, environmental permitting and approvals, telecommunications, government affairs, employment and labor relations, historic preservation and cultural resources, and energy. BoBoYama Law is committed to making positive and lasting change in our communities as they support nonprofit volunteering, community activism, and employing Indian preference in hiring and vendor relations.
All right. And we're back. It turned out that she wanted to rap battle with me, and I lost again. So sooh is an expert in rap, and I was going to sing on this episode, but unfortunately my piano is broken, so I can't play anything for you. So I have to just talk to you guys now. So yes, sooh and we do rap battles every now and then. Kwa joins in, and I'm like, I do the breakdown. We do the breakdown beats, and Kat kind of comes in. That's basically what we do around the house. Yeah. But anyway. Where was I with this whole idea of being in the future? The future is something different. We think of the past a lot because we find happier times there. Sometimes we do find our past can catch up to us, but sometimes our past is something that we want to remember. And I try to remember the good times in the past. I try to remember all the glitz and the glamour and where we wanted to go to. Like, I remember one time, we went, sooh, Kwa, and I, we went to Las Vegas. Las Vegas is where we went to. And I remember we stayed at Circus, and that was like the best time staying at Circus back in the early 2000s. And the reason why is because, Circus was new. Circus was something cool, and they had all of these people that were doing trapeze on top of you, and you get to play the games there. And I thought it was magical. I thought this was living. I thought this was life, and immediately I'm like, so we should move here. We should move to Las Vegas. And because, the trapeze guys are pretty cool. I was like jumping up and down, and I was like, we need to move. We need to move now, sooh. But no, I mean, like, those are the happier times that I do remember. But talking about like the future of where we're going, as not just as me, but like as Hopi people, like, where do we see ourselves in the future? Are we still doing a lot of our traditions? Are we passing it down enough to where our traditions won't die out? I mean, like all of these different things that you think about, because our elders are the ones who hold a lot of these stories. And yes, there are different programs out there that are trying to record the elders with their stories and their life experiences. And I do learn a lot from Kwa and Sooh from their past. And it's kind of given me this idea of like how life was back in the past and how life should be lived like as a Hopi. And when you think about it, and when you think about like the mainstream society, it's like, man, that is very, very different. And it's like, so you guys didn't have McDonald's back in the day? And I'm like, no, we had to, we just ate potatoes and gravy. And I'm like, ew. But those are the different things that we as youngsters, we as millennials think about. And our generation, I think our generation is probably like the last generation that still kind of knows how to talk Hopi in a way. It still kind of like understands it and tries to communicate. And yes, J-Man and I, we still do communicate in Hopi more or less, like, like calling each other in bad words, but anyway, it's like we still know and we still do a lot of our traditions as Hopi people. But thinking about it, like how well do we know Hopi in a way? I was at a wedding this past week and a half ago, I believe, and it was one of part of our family's, our extended family's wedding, and her daughter was the bride, and I know the mother and I know the family, and we're very, very close. And during those days there, I was invited because I was the photographer to take pictures there. And there, we had different generations. We had youngsters that were at the wedding, and we had older generation that were at the wedding. And yes, we did. They did cut the cake and they fed each other. We danced to R. Kelly's "Bump and Grind," and no, I'm just kidding. But then then you think about it. All of these speeches that their parents had gave, or the speeches or like the toast that they gave, and throughout the ceremony, throughout the wedding, like when you're eating and you give out the best man gives out his speech, and it was very touching, like how they were childhood friends, and they that he would never had seen him in a nice suit. I'm pretty sure that all of the Hopis there that did this traditional Christian wedding was the only time that they've worn a suit before, and I'm probably in that category as well too, because I have never worn anything that was very, very nice. I mean, I had to really dig out my nice pants, nice pants that actually have a pocket that you can seat your cell phone in. That's luxurious pocket rather than my mesh pocket that I wear, because I wear sweatpants all the time. And no, these were real pants, the pants that you had to actually iron. And I had to really dig that out of the closet. And when I was at this wedding, hearing all of these different toasts that the bridesmaid or the groomsmen or their mother or their father that were making, and it was all about like the prosperous future and how well they'll be in the future, and how well their future is going to go. And when you listen to that, it's like it's basically mirrors the same thing as how Hopi does their weddings, is that you're tied together for life, here in this life and afterlife. And that's basically like how Christian weddings are. It's like it's the same concept. They're tied. They tied the knot per se. They tied that ceremonial knot together and now they're one in, they basically mirror each other now. So I congratulate both of them, and I know you guys listen to the podcast, so congratulations to both of you. I congratulate your long, prosperous lives together, and I know that you're probably expecting a young one in the future, so congratulate your firstborn as well too, and hopefully everything works out in the best. So congratulate, if you do see them around, congratulate them. He works at the K-Town store, and he's a good butcher. He's a good butcher, and I guess he's one of our brothers, one of our relatives as well too. So he's a good guy. So thank him if you see him at K-Town store. He packages the sequel very well. But back to the whole idea of seeing ourselves in the future. Like, where do I really see myself in 5 years? Like, to tell you the truth, I don't know. I have really not thought about that. After this whole COVID thing that had hit, it was really weird because I lost a lot of time in that 2020, like just staying home and worrying about like what's going to happen. And so I think about the future as a yearly thing now. I don't think about the future as 5 or 10 years. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people out there are doing the same thing. Like, they're just living year by year or day by day. And I'm pretty sure that 90% of us are depressed. and it is true. It is true in a way that, 90% of us here on the reservation are depressed. And I'm probably in that category of depression. And yes, depression is a real sickness. It's just not something that you contract overnight. It's not something that you get off the shelves and at Walmart. No, it is a real thing. And depression is something that can't be taken very lightly, and especially with the younger generation and their futures. Where do they see themselves in 5 years or so? And that's the thing that, I kind of think about every time, like what is going to go on with us on the Hopi Reservation? Is our culture going to survive, or is are we going to finally get a McDonald's here? Or like, those are the things that I kind of think about. And so, I'm probably sure that I have more to say, but I wanted to keep this a little short because I'm pretty sure that you kind of got tired of me talking, and 30 minutes is a long time to hear just one person talk about something just of a single subject. And of course, J-Man is going to be talking next week for his episode. So stick around for that. So next week, you'll finally hear what J-Man has to say all alone. It's probably going to be a bunch of recipes and talking about WWE or something like that. Or I don't know. I don't know what he's going to talk about. But anyway, if you got this far in the podcast, and if you want to hear Sooh and I rap battle each other, stick around to the next episode. You might, or stick around to the next episodes. You might be surprised because Sooh can really rap. She rap battles me and stuff. But if you stuck around this far, I congratulate you, because it is very hard doing a self episode. I must say it was very challenging. Prior to this final recording, I did at least 10 episodes just to make it where it's like, okay, I think this one is going to work now. So again, if you are listening to this on the Anchor website, go ahead and become a monthly sponsor or 30-pack sponsor. It's only $1.99 or $9.99 a month, whichever one you want to go with. And you can be part of our 30-pack sponsor list. We give you great shout outs, but again, we are working on something. We are working on something to make our 30-pack sponsors to become our subscription listers. There you can probably find, we're working on something really big where it's like background stuff or like backstage stuff. So stick around for that. We might have something pretty cool for you guys. So again, if you are listening to this on Apple Podcast or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review. Those are the reviews that actually do get looked at, and it bumps up our podcast every now and then. If you want to donate $1 or more, go to buymeacoffee.com/CJpodcast to donate $1 or more. And it really helps us out because it keeps us out of the streets, keeps us in the buildings, keeps our lights on, and it helps out the community as well too. So go ahead and do that. If you are listening to this on YouTube, go ahead and smash that like button. Go ahead and smash the subscribe button. Go ahead and do the bell icon thing. I think that's what it is called, but go ahead and do that. So, all right. Well, thank you again for listening to my very first podcast here, sponsored by CJ Podcast Studios. I'm your host, Carl, and we'll see you next time.
Change the world is not all that crazy. In a simple twisted cheek cry. Open up, expose the confusion. Oh, what a life, oh, what a surprise. Take a chance before you know it. Once begun, you find yourself all the way in. There's always a price when you go in. If you're a heart, I'm betting you win. If you're a heart,